Hello, high school sports fans. Joe Gillaway here with Linglestown Gazette Sports. We are at Central Dauphin High School for our second incarnation of Meet the Lady Rams. I have 8 of the girls basketball players here for Central Dauphin High School, and man, have the faces changed since last year. We'll get into that momentarily. We're going to get to know a little bit more about these girls, maybe on and off the court, hopefully. And then we have head coach Randy Gambalungi, also known as Coach G, right behind me. Hopefully we can get to learn a little bit more about Coach G as well. This program, by the way, some of the girls that you see here coming off back-to-back District 3 Class 6A titles. So they have their work cut out for them this year. And we're going to find out where their sights are set this year. And some have very little experience at the varsity level. So anyway, we're going to get started. First of all, I got to remind you that Ted's Bar and Grill sponsors a lot of the Linglestown Gazette sports offerings, and they're sponsoring this interview tonight. Haley is holding up their brand new menu. Ted's unveiled their menu about 2 or 3 weeks ago. It's going great already. Didn't get rid of any of the old favorites. They just added some more of the more nouveau, eclectic type of offerings. Girls, do you guys go to Ted's Bar and Grill? Yeah. That's a resounding yes, I think. Where do you guys celebrate the big games, after the big games?
Ted's.
Okay, that's not scripted, folks. And the last thing I want to mention is that Romeo from Ted's was just here. He dropped off a bunch of food. So as soon as we're done with the interview, we're going to let the girls eat some food from Ted's Bar and Grill. So I'm going to pass the microphone over first to one of our co-captains this year, Delaney. And this is Delaney's back from last year. She was the first guard off the bench last year, right? So you got significant amount of playing time. And when I think of Delaney Lackner, I think of toughness. Is that something that you've always brought to the sports field or court?
Yeah, I enjoy playing defense more than I do offense, so I put all of my energy to defense to help out my teammates score on offense.
Sort of maybe a Faith St. Clair kind of role, maybe? Mm-hmm. Because that can be a big loss, a player like Faith, but I can see you filling her shoes in quite adeptly, yeah. And it's hard to sort of define the contributions you make. I mean, I've watched you play a lot, but it always seems like the team plays better when you're on the court. Have you noticed that?
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it does. There's times where I think the team was just sort of struggling maybe to score or giving up too many points, and Coach G put you in, and things got turned around last year a lot. And how do you see yourself in terms of what you add to the team when you're out in the court?
I think I add, like you said, like the defensive. I bring out the energy and pick up people if we're not making shots.
I agree. Well, thank you, Delaney. We appreciate it. That's Delaney Lackner. She's a junior, by the way, and or senior. I'm sorry, a senior, by the way. She's a senior, by the way, and I'm going to have the rest of the girls introduce their class year and their position as we move forward here. Next up, we have one of our juniors.
Audrey, I'm a forward and I'm a junior.
Okay, and Audrey's one of the only handful of bigs on this team, big meaning a front line player, and you really don't have a whole lot of varsity experience. How do you feel about being given the opportunity to go up against these bigs from the Mid-Penn Commonwealth? Are you ready for that?
Yeah, I am. It's going to be great. I'm excited for the season.
And word has it that you have worked hard in the off season and that your game's improving. So I think the team needs a lot out of you this year. Do you seem to be taking on that role yourself?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I think I'm becoming a leader and I'm taking my responsibilities seriously.
Good. Okay. Well, thank you, Audrey.
That's good.
And next up, we have Cammie.
Hi, I'm Cammie. I'm a senior. I'm a guard.
Okay, good. So, Cammie, it's not often that a senior, in probably any sport, I mean, Coach G could maybe vouch for this, makes a team after not being part of the program for the years prior to that. But Coach G obviously sees something in you. Better late than never, huh? For you and the team, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I used to play.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Yeah. And my friend friends are on the team, and they were convincing me for a while, so I decided to come out.
Are you
And
enjoying
I'm
yourself?
Enjoying it a lot.
You
yeah,
are?
A lot of fun.
Great program to be involved in, huh?
Yes, it is.
Now, what does a player like Cammie add to the team? I haven't seen you play yet.
Yeah, you will. I think well, my biggest thing is that I'll always like give 100% of my effort, and I think that's huge. Whenever it's slow, I'll try and bring up the energy.
Good. Okay, well, thank you, Cammie.
Thank you.
That's senior Cammie. Maddie.
Yeah, it's your next. I'm Maddie LaFrance. I am a sophomore and I'm a guard.
Okay. Maddie, you sort of had to wait your turn for the opportunity to get some significant playing time, which I'm sure you will this year. You're a scorer, and a lot of times a player, you know, at your level can get in as a freshman and start really, you know, getting some significant minutes and stuff. Mm-hmm. But you didn't. You spent most of the season watching the older players. Are you ready for to step up your role?
Yeah, I feel like I've prepared myself a lot, and I've looked up to Sam as like a leader, and I feel like my responsibilities will eventually get there.
Now, you're as good of a shooter probably as one will find, okay? But some of the other areas of your game, were you able to take some guards such as maybe Faith, and you just mentioned Sam and Grace and Delaney, and use that to help you improve other aspects of your game?
Yeah, I look at, especially with Faith, I looked at defense because of how good she was, and I knew like defense was like my weakness, so like I've been working extra hard on that.
Good. And next up we have...
I'm Izzy Vogel. I'm a small forward and a guard, and I'm a sophomore.
Okay, thanks, Izzy. And I was wondering how you would identify yourself position-wise. Yeah. I mean, I look at you as sort of like a true swing player, you know. Yeah. And the other thing I was thinking of, I was trying to figure out last night, you know, what you add to the team, and you're probably either are or will be like a true five-tool player. Do you know what a five-tool player is?
Yeah.
Scorer, rebounder, for people at home that haven't, Sam knows what it is, right? Score, rebound, assist, steals, and block shots. And, you know, it's not often that a team has a player like that, but I see you as that type of player. What do you enjoy the most out of those tools, so to speak?
I mean, honestly, I like doing everything because it's just, like, nice to just, like...
Contribute?
That's okay. That's all right. I forget words, too.
It's nice just to have, like, different options. Like,
right.
Like, experiment, I guess you could say.
Right.
I don't know.
And the other thing you bring to the team besides those five tools is you can run the court, too.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to seeing Izzy Vogel this year, too. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll move on to Haley now.
Hi, I'm Haley Lackner. I'm a guard and I'm a junior.
All right, Haley. Haley, you seem to always be around the ball, whether you're on offense or defense. And I remember when you were a freshman, I would sit there and watch the freshman team sometime and think, every time I see the ball, you're near it. Is that something that by design, or you're just so aggressive that that's where you end up?
I guess it's just aggression.
Aggressiveness. Aggressiveness. Aggressive.
It's aggression.
Aggressiveness.
Same thing. It's
Can we cut that out?
It's okay. God, aggression is a word.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
Okay, yes.
No, it is.
I just go for the ball. That's what I go for. That's it. I'll just keep it simple. I go for the ball.
Well, this is a good segue to my next question, because you seem to have more fun playing basketball than any other player I see, boy, girl, any level. You just have a blast out there?
I mean, I just like the people that I'm around, and like whenever like they do something good, then
yeah,
it just makes me happy.
You always have a smile on your face. Okay, now maybe the most important question. I heard there was a new licensed driver in the Lackner household.
He drove to practice
Oh, wow.
and home from school.
Okay, so Haley got her driver's license. Are you holding the steering wheel at 10 and 2 o'clock?
Actually, I kind of am. Like, Delaney will vouch for me.
All right, good. So we could trust everybody else in the car with her. All right, well, thank you, Haley. Oh, okay. No? Maybe not?
Not yet. She's not that bad.
Hi, I'm Caroline. I'm a forward and I'm a freshman.
Okay. Caroline, You came straight from the freshman team last year to varsity this year, which means that you didn't stop at JV. Experience playing with the upperclassmen to this point, what have you gotten out of that, and how do you feel about being around this group of girls?
Well, at first it was like really overwhelming, but then like I got to know the people and they've like helped me out tremendously, and it's just been like really great because
Just tremendous.
but yeah, they've definitely helped out making it a lot easier.
So they made the adjustment better and sort of the ride a little smoother, having to go from, you know, ninth grade to a bunch of juniors and seniors predominantly?
Definitely.
Okay,
Definitely.
good. Well, thank you, Caroline.
Yeah.
And we're going to end with Sam. Before we get to Coach G, that is.
I'm Sam, and I'm a senior, and I'm a guard.
Okay, Sam, last year when we did this, you were the youngest person, and I called you the baby of the bunch, okay? I went through and I watched last year's. You went from the baby of the bunch to the mother hen all in 1 year, okay? How does that happen? Usually there's a year or two in between. And I say that, you know why I'm saying that, because you're the senior, and you've been on the court, you know, since you were a freshman. And I'd say that, you know, all eyes are on you in terms of, at least in terms of your teammates, and they're watching your body language, and they see, you know, emotionally, how does it feel to know that in terms of how you carry yourself, it's going to make an impact probably on your teammates?
Yeah, it's definitely different from last year. You know, I looked up to those girls, and this year it's the complete opposite. They're kind of looking up to me in a way. And I mean, I love these girls so much, and just knowing that I kind of can I can influence them in a way, it makes me happy.
Right, and you were around, I guess, Tori Lesko was a senior when you were a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct there? And you know, I've only been around the program. I'm going into my 4th year as the announcer, but I look at you in the same sort of role or realm as a Tori Lesko. You know, that you guys both played for 4 years, or you're going into your 4th year, and people look up to you, and you've meant more to the program than just the points you put up or the free throws you make. But basketball is your second sport, right?
Yeah.
Can we call it that? Tell us where you're going after high school.
I'm going to North Carolina State University to play softball.
What position, Sam?
I'm going to be a utility player, so pitching and the field.
Good. Okay. All right. So I guess the last question I have, this is probably your last year of competitive basketball, like, at least at this level, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some kind of rec league somewhere down there. Are you still learning?
Oh my God, yeah. A lot.
Okay. So you have the right coaches here, and yeah, because I know that you don't ever want to get stagnant when it comes to improving your games, you know, no matter what sport it is. So that's good to hear. And the last thing I wanted to say is that, you know, you're just a special athlete and a special young lady, and it makes me proud to, you know, be part of this program, even if it's just as an announcer and a fan of the team. So thank you for that.
Thanks,
We
Joe.
appreciate it. Yep. That's Sam Gress. And now the father hen.
Coach Gambalungi, very senior. Center.
Okay, so this is Coach G, as he's affectionately known. Coach, you're coming off once again back-to-back District 3 titles. You've only been you're going into your 4th year back at Central Dauphin, and in 3 short years, 3+ years, you've built a program that the Central Dauphin community can be proud of. I guess just in a sentence or two, what's most important to you about building a program? Not the X's and the O's, not the wins and the losses, all the other stuff.
It's team, no doubt about it. It's team, and having a group of kids that care for each other, look out for each other. You can see it here, the way they're cheering on each other and talking about each other. We definitely encourage that. Coach Denniston and Coach Felker, along with myself, we really keep an eye on that. We really think it's vital for a team to have success, to have communication off the court and great communication on the court.
Good, thank you. This is about almost a complete overhaul from last year. I mentioned that sort of in the intro. 2 years ago, you lost Tori and Alexis Hartwick. Before last year's season, you lost Smitty and Teray. Now you lost 8 seniors. And you don't just lose the production, you lose their personalities, right? maybe some basketball IQ. Now you have the younger kids coming up, and I'm not saying that you guys have low basketball IQ, but it's something you have to learn. And you have to learn sometimes from doing it wrong, right?
Oh, that's correct. You know, that's the thing about last year's team is they did have such a high basketball IQ, and they really worked hard. They worked hard in practice. But this group here, I'll tell you, the talent is definitely here. And as we build IQ through the season, I think you'll see a team that just keeps on getting better.
Thank you. And the last thing I'm going to ask you, and I'm sure you've been asked this 100 times before about this team, can we expect to see a different style of play? Last year you had a lot of games where you could score 35 points and win by 4, you know? Do you think this team's going to be moving up and down the court a little bit more? Or?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think we're going to push the ball a lot more with the athletes we have. A lot of these girls play off-season basketball and have a kind of a running style with their teams, and we have some really good athletes too. So I really believe that we're going to score more points this year. Now we don't want to give up a lot of points this year, and that's going to be our through the year improvements that need to be made. But this group can score the basketball. Yeah,
last year I would go to every game hoping that the other team's total wouldn't start with a 3. You know, it didn't happen all the time, but that's certainly the goal. So that's Coach Randy Gambalungi, a.k.a. Coach G. Ladies, thanks very much. Once again, this show is brought to you by Ted's Bar and Grill. Romeo does a lot for the girls' basketball program. So for Izzy, Haley, Maddie, Delaney, Sam, who's behind me? Audrey, Caroline, Coach G, and Cammie. I'm Joe Gillaway with Linglestown Gazette Sports. Thank you.
Bye.